I haven't made an assignment for this yet. I'm right now, this is a live Zoom class, one student's with me. And I basically, well, I guess for purposes of the student that's in attendance right now, and I'm let me adjust the lighting on this. I'm previewing the assignment that I'm going to post in the next couple of days.
Oh, gotcha.
That's really, oh, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to demo. So last session and the last assignment that I posted was was related to value, but it called back to what we did with gesture drawing towards the beginning of the semester. So I'm going to call back again. So it's a little bit of a review. I'm going to build upon what we did with cross contour. If you remember that drawing, I did the demo of the tree way back in August, actually. And I want to like sort of go back to the concept of cross contour. So like trying to visualize these marks that travel across an object, but I want to use, I want to think about it in terms of value, and I want to use more of our materials that we're using before. And so I want to use all of our Conte crayons. And so if you recall on the materials list, what I had you get was we're going to the overhead here. I had you get that small matchbox of Conte crayons, and I'm sorry, I don't have my box anymore. And as you can see, I have like I'm down to like broken pieces. But so basically, like there are 4 colors in that little box, and we've been using the black Conte quite a bit. In fact, I suspect that you might not even have much of it left. And this is really, don't adjust for low light. How's that? It's kind of bright. So you should at least have white, which we actually used last class, and brown, which we also used, and this orange color, which is called terracotta. Those are the 4 colors that are in there, along with black, of course. And so I want to do this drawing on our white multimedia paper. And as you can see, I have toned the paper. And the reason I did that is so that when I drew with the white, you could see it stand out against the background. And maybe I'll start by just showing you some examples of past student projects using this method and these materials. Let's see what I have open here. You know, I was having problems with this with my other class last night, so I'm going to actually change up this share. Oh, hold up. Sorry. I'm using my screens a little differently than I normally do. So this is live television. I'll just show desktop too. So I have some weird problem with so Rez, you can see this image of a shell drawing?
Yeah.
Cool. And if I switch, you can see all the others.
Yeah.
So the idea with this drawing was to make use of color, using that limited color palette that I just mentioned, the orange, the white, the orange, and the brown and the black. So if you think about those 4 colors, they sort of progress from light to dark, right? So light's the lightest. Sorry, white is the lightest, orange is the next lightest, brown is the next, and dark is or black is the darkest. I'm swapping those out. So the idea is to create like sort of a full range of values, but like sort of using each color as a placeholder for each value. So as I scroll through these, you'll see what I'm talking about. And these were done in the classroom or for homework. And the students, as you can see, they kind of, I encourage them to use these sort of organic objects. I know that in the classroom we had this collection of cool seashells. So what I'm going to recommend when I post this assignment is that we use like either well, if you have seashells, that's a great subject for this, but you could also use fruits or vegetables. I'm basically looking for objects. Here's a pine cone. That's a great subject. More shells. Oh, these drawings are really good. That's not really related, but a nice drawing nonetheless. Yeah, so you can see the paper has been toned, and these used coffee. I'm going to show you how to do a tea stain. Oh, here's, as long as we're looking at my table, here's like I had some a ginger root in my kitchen. Like that's actually a great subject for this as well. And then as you can see, like I actually don't know if this, I don't think this shows up in the recording for privacy reasons. That they tend not to show student video in the recordings, which is just the way the school set it up. So sorry, I'm going to charge my phone. I have a lot of devices here and I have to remember to keep them charged while I'm working, or else class stops. Charge my phone. That's screwing up. That works. Kind of, sort of. Thanks for your patience, Rez.
No problem.
So that's the subject I'm going to draw today, because I felt like that would be kind of a pretty simple, straightforward subject. The garlic and the onion, but it allows us to, and you can see I set up, if I pull back, you can see I set up like a single light source again, right? So like I have a desk lamp that I pointed at it, and that just like, that creates a little bit more dramatic lighting situation, so that like when I'm drawing, all those qualities of value are really present and identifiable. So that's going to be my subject drawing, but let me start by showing you how I go about the tea stain process. So I'm going to close the chat. Cool. There we go. So if you don't have it on, put it on speaker view if you don't already have it on speaker view, so you can see or maximize the amount of screen that you can see. So you can see I have this really like pretty kind of surface that I created actually just by boiling some water and putting some, I put a couple of tea bags and I let them steep for a while. So you can see the tea is nice and dark. And in order to get this like level of value out of the tea stain, I actually did it. You can see it's right in my drawing pad. I actually like did 2 coats. So like I put it on once and let it dry, and then I put it on again. And that gave me enough. It made it dark enough so that I could So again, you'll want to do this on your white drawing paper, your multimedia drawing paper. And so you can hopefully see here, gosh, it's really bright. Maybe I don't even need that. Wow, it's really bright. I'm just gonna play with the video settings. Much worse. Okay, that's all the way down. So you can see that I stained this paper previously. So what I basically did was I took the tea bag and I used the tea bag to just put the tea all over the paper. And then I just let it dry and I did another coat. I also have a hair dryer here. So like what I would do is like, if you watch my demo on you can use a paper towel to get some of the parts away. And you can repeat this as many times as you want to get it darker. If it's not getting dark enough the first time around, just stain the paper, put it aside, and start again. And I've also been just like putting it under weight so that it's kind of flat. So you can put it under some books or something. But here's the one that I already had. And let's see if I can. No. So hopefully, Araz, for you, that's just side by side.
Yep.
Are you at work right now? There's a very pretty landscape behind there.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm at work right now.
Cool.
I work
so I'm going to basically work from my I'm going to start with my red Conte, my terracotta Conte crayon, and I'm going to lightly sketch in these objects. And I'm going to try to fill the paper as much as I can. So right now I'm just kind of establishing the general shape. And what I want to start to be sensitive to is these contours. So cross contour, if you recall, like there are these lines that travel across the surface of the object. And if you look at that onion, you can see that like there are these sort of longitudinal lines that go from the top to the bottom, and they kind of bulge out. And they emphasize the shape of the object. So I'm going to establish some of those contour lines very lightly first with my red Conte crayon. And then I'm going to start to establish some of these highlights. So you can see like on the onion, like I'll point with my brush. We sort of have these like really bright highlight here and on like the different cloves of garlic. So I'm going to establish those, and this is why it's important to stain the paper, because you actually can see the white of the crayon against. Hopefully you can see that on my image here. Zoom in. You can see it against the toned paper. So I'm establishing those highlights. I'm going to go back to my red, and I'm going to start to establish like the lightest values. And I'm always conforming to the contours of the object. So these lines that kind of present themselves. So I'm thinking of this red as sort of this lightest value that's somewhere between the highlights and just the general color of the object. But I'm basically just kind of starting to establish a range of values. But always conforming to the contour, these cross contour lines, which in this case, as you saw, they're like, they travel from the top to the bottom of the object. And what I can also start to establish too is the cast shadows, if you recall from our value drawings and the egg drawings, like these cast shadows on the surface around the objects. Yeah, part of my view where I'm sitting is slightly different from what you see through the other camera. So I'm going to move on to my brown Conte. That's like my next value. I'm still conforming to all those contour lines. And since the onion's slightly darker than the garlic, I can kind of build some contrast between those two objects. But the key with this drawing is that, at least in the case of the objects, I'm always following the contour of the object. Moving back to my orange now, my terracotta. So you can see I kind of am slowly building these values by following the contour lines, cross contour lines. And now I'm turning back to my white. I'm going to try to build upon those whites that I established before. Back to my orange. I think I just realized you guys actually have a what's called a sanguine, which is like a red color. So it's between the terracotta and the brown. I'm trying to build upon those shadows. This time with the brown. You notice I'm using the white to blend. This is one of the nice things about this medium. I can still use a paper towel to smudge. Especially in these shadows. So you can see like this drawing medium is kind of messy. So like make sure you like I kind of put this piece of cardboard down that I work on top of. So like if you don't want to get chalk on your desk, I recommend doing something like that. I'm still building upon those dark values with the brown. Always emphasizing those contour lines, those cross contour lines. I might even use the white to emphasize this background. Like part of the idea is that the toned surface sort of becomes part of the drawing. It's one of the values you're using. So I apologize. I think the actually the colors you guys have, and I kind of forgot because I haven't had the full set for a long time. It should be white. Yeah, so it's white, terracotta, sanguine, which is that red, brown, and then lastly black, which I know you guys have been using a lot of, so it's possible you're out of it because I've been having to use it for other drawings. But I try to use the black sort of sparingly because I want the other colors to speak for the other values. And I don't want to feel the need to like overemphasize edges with the black because the edges can kind of speak for themselves just in terms of contrast with whatever's behind them. Go back to my brown. Okay, so that's mostly that. And I'll be posting this as an assignment. Oh, I should also mention, you can see it's very dusty. So like you'll want to use your spray fixative. So refer to that video that I made earlier about using spray fixative. Otherwise, this drawing will just basically smudge and not exist anymore. Okay, so I am going to sign off. And